Time to put your guys where your mouth is by Tsume Yuki. The sort of prequel slash sequel. Put my Galleons on that one. An alternate dimension? Harry raised a brow, arms folded across his chest, as he offered Death a half-hearted glare. Life had passed by, and Harry Potter had found himself back in the white walls of King's Cross Station after his death. His own personal purgatory. Death, standing almost 4 feet taller than Harry in his true form, gave a solemn nod that expressed nothing that Harry actually wished to know. What would be different from my own dimension? Why give me this chance? The raspy wheeze of Death, drawing in a breath to speak, was the only sound for a moment, and Harry waited patiently. A few things. There will be changes, some good, some bad. I shall even drop you somewhere prosperous for your life over there. It was this, or have you reborn again and again in your own world, just at different times? Death is an eternity, and you are its master. A master can never be harmed by their servant. It is not the way of things. But the balance, it must be maintained. No one can live forever, only extend their lives. So, Death could not harm him, could not take him as it had done every other person in his life? So I could choose? Death made a low humming sound in the back of its throat. Did it have a throat? And Harry took that for confirmation. The first thing that jumped out at him was the fact he could save everyone if he was reborn in his own world. But something made him stop. Just a second. But he still stopped. Maybe he should try the alternate dimension thing. It didn't sound boring, at least. Tilting his head to his side, Harry examined the figure before him, whirring his lip back and forth for a few moments, and then giving a shallow nod. Sure, why not? Something different sounds good, to be honest. Albus Dumbledore rubbed wearily at his forehead, trying not to worry another set of lines into his brow as he did so. His latest divination potential professor seemed to be a bust too, but she was the last one he had time to see before the new school year. The appointment had been made earlier, but the day he was supposed to meet her, the Elder Wand had gone missing. Now it was late August 1980, and he still didn't have a divination professor, and that didn't seem like it was going to change anytime soon. Perhaps he had to get in contact with Miss Delphine and say that she had been the best for the job after all. Before he could consider it, though, something changed. It was in the atmosphere of the room, and Albus Dumbledore looked over at the interviewee, one Sybil Trelawney. She had gone stiff, her eyes bulging wide, and there was an air about her that left him ill at ease. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord has arrived. Born as the treasured month dies, born of gifter's gold, tired and weary soul, stick, stone, and cloak on call. The Dark Lord should fear him above all. The one with the power to vanquish has arrived, born as the treasured month dies. His heart had stopped for a second as Trelawney drew in a shaky breath. The atmosphere was gone, but the words remained. Springing to his feet and feeling years younger, Dumbledore offered his hand to the woman. Welcome to Hogwarts, Professor Trelawney. He had so much to think about right now, but first thing first. Time to dissect that prophecy. Watching the brown-haired boy toddle through the living room, Nicholas Flamel couldn't kill the smile on his face even if he wanted to. For years, decades, even centuries, both himself and parentally had talked about children, had tried for children, but it had never happened. They'd never been blessed for that. The heartbreak over that fact had withered and died long ago. And then in the early months of 1977, a miracle happened. Perennially was pregnant. The Philosopher's Stone had frozen their appearance so that they appeared no older than 40. It also kept them both physically healthy, if apparently infertile. But no more. While it hadn't been easy, Perennially had carried to term, and late on the night of October 31st, 1977, their first and only son had been born. Ignotus Nicholas Flamel. Parentally had been moaning for the past few months that he'd ended up looking exactly like his father, but he knew she was secretly pleased as punch over that. In addition to the fact he'd gotten her brilliant blue eyes. And now, approaching Ignatus's third birthday as they were, Nicholas could not feel any happier. Their little boy was incredibly intelligent, frighteningly so. He'd already done a few tests to see if it was a result of elixir exposure while Ignatus had been in the room, but the results were so far inconclusive. There was the additional fact that when they dared to take their little boy out into a nearby Muggle village, he'd picked up a small bracelet from somewhere. Parentally had enchanted it to grow accordingly alongside Ignatus, but that wasn't what worried him. It was the symbol of those Deathly Hallows that had his stomach clenching up. But Ignatus seemed rather attached to the symbol, refused to let them take the bracelet back. As it had come with no magic when Ignatus presented it to them, he'd not said anything, only watched as his son ran his pudgy fingers down the wooden carving before continuing about his day. Currently, he'd sat himself down on the floor and was collaring away at something, tongue sticking out his mouth in a show of childish concentration. Yet his son was a bit odd compared to every other child he'd ever seen. His accidental magic was too strong, his intelligence seemingly too high. But Nicholas wouldn't have it any other way.